All right, so I just thought I'd play a little bit for you before we went through this. Sorry, I didn't mean to mislead you. I actually didn't play the guitar. I just played you part of a song. Yeah, that's what we're talking about today. Misleading graphs and statistics. You've probably seen them whether you realize it or not. But a lot of society, they want us to believe something that might not be true. And what they do is they show us a graph to prove it to us that what they're trying to get across is actually the truth, and they want us to think about it. So we're going to go through some of these different ideas, not only graphs but statistics, and how they're going to show us what it is they want us to see. So this is 6.3 investigation number 4. I know that you're watching this video, but I forgot to remind you that basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking a test on all of chapter 6 after we come back from SALT trip. So we're looking at probably the Thursday, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, the 20th as possibly the test date. If it's not the 20th, then it would be the day right after that. So 21 for 7B and 7A and 7G and 24. Okay, so just something to keep your eye out for, but we'll work on that. Okay, so let's move on because this is long. All right, there's some questions you want to ask when looking at data or graphs. Is the information presented correctly? Is the graph trying to influence you? Does the scale use a regular interval? And what impression is the graph giving you? So those are some things to think about. Now, here is how they can mislead you. I'm not going to go through all of these. I want you to pause it, write them down in your own words, make sense out of them for yourself. But I'm going to move to the next slide, and I want you to pause and look at these. Okay, so let's look at one. Why is this graph misleading? Well, look at the title. Massive increase in house prices this year. It tells us exactly what to think. Oh my goodness, look how much the prices moved up. Okay? Look at the scale. This is huge. We're looking at 0 right here. And that's 80,000. And then this is 1,000. So the scale is different. It makes this green one look 3 times smaller than the orange. Okay? This is what the real graph looks like. Look at that. I mean, that's tiny, the difference. Average house price, it's not trying to make us think anything. So it shows a more accurate picture. Okay, so good, bad. Okay, so let's look at another one. Why is this graph misleading? Look at the numbers on the x-axis, on the y-axis. See how they're changing? So this is another one of those where the scale is different. You might have noticed also that we have no idea what this graph is telling us. There's no labeling anywhere. There's no title to the graph. We don't know what 0 to 16 is. So that's another way that they're going to do it. In the news, margin of error is the amount that the results can be off by. So be careful of that sort of information when you're looking at election polls or opinions on a person or a concept. Okay, look at this one. I know it's kind of small, but down here it says 7% points, plus or minus. Okay, it looks huge that the Democrats said yes 62 times, and these two guys said 54. But let's look at the real. So this is kind of what it's saying. The difference between the Democrats and the Republicans is 8%, but the margin of error is 7%. So that could be anywhere from 15% different to only 1% different. Okay. From the graph, it looks like Democrats are 8 times more likely to agree with the decision. Look at this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 extra bars from the green one to this one. So that's kind of silly. It does not accurately demonstrate that a majority of all groups interviewed agreed with the decision. That's what happens. Okay? This is what it should look like. It doesn't look so drastic. Okay? But they're trying to get you to think something. Okay, so here is data about how many people are using legal services to download music. Okay? This purple one down here on the bottom, a little over 9 million, are people that are using file sharing networks, which basically means illegal downloading. This is the number of people using iTunes. This is real networks that they can buy stuff from, and this is Napster. Well, Napster is no longer in effect, so it's old data. And then you have this down here. It's a little hard to see. 1% estimated capacity of all iPods filled with iTunes songs. Okay, so only 1% of all iPods. But 99% is estimated to be available capacity not filled by iTunes. So what they're implying is that 99% is then filled with illegal music. And that's not what they're trying to say. That's what they're trying to say. They're trying to get you to believe that that's the case, but it's not. Okay. The iPods could control apps, games. I could have downloaded a CD into iTunes and had the music. But they're trying to make you think that 99% of a person's iPod is filled with illegal music, and that's not right. Okay. This graphic appeared in something called Wired magazine. It's an American magazine. And the quote from the article, "What's filling all that excess capacity? Well, despite the efforts of the recording, nearly 1 billion songs are traded on P2P networks every month." It was trying to imply that it's filled with illegal downloads, but the data doesn't show that. Okay. All right. I wanted to put this one at you and have you look at it and tell me what is it that you think is wrong about it. Okay? I'm going to ask this question whenever you come into class. And then I have one more graph for you, and it's mainly just for fun. But the amount of acting classes needed for the World Cup, 300 plus, and to be in the movie Twilight, absolutely none. All right? So what I want you to think about through this lesson is how society, newspapers, TV, radio, wants to convince you about stuff. For instance, do you really need to have the latest iPhone 5S? Or is the 5C okay? Is it still okay to own an iPhone 4? I don't even own an iPhone. But society tells you that no, it's not okay for you to not have the newest stuff. There's a bumper sticker in the United States that they put on the back of a car that says, "The man with the most stuff at the end wins." And that's what society's trying to teach us. But we need to realize that we have the ability to determine when things are important and when things are not. Where is the line between right and wrong? Looking at data, is it important that we see what's different about it that makes us want to think one way when in fact it should be a different way? Okay? When you get to class, I'm going to ask you to think about this. I'm going to ask you to write down some stuff based on your mindset and how you approach this concept of being misled, because the whole world does it. And we need to find where the truth is. And that's what we're learning in this lesson from a mathematical point. So make sure you go back, take notes on anything you need to, come to class. For those in 7A and 7B, you guys are doing this on Monday. For everybody else, you're doing this after the SALT trips. Oh yeah, and I told Pear that I would talk like this because she asked if I was going to say anything funny and make it fun, but I wanted to make it as horribly boring as possible. Have a good weekend. I'll see you Monday or on the SALT trips. Later.